Hello, and welcome back to this How to Play Yu-Gi-Oh! Guide. If you did see my previous video, I talked about some of the basic mechanics, with the video focusing on how monsters work. There were still some things that I missed, so today's video will cover those details, along with some other information. Now, let's get into it. Here's some of the other basic details of Yu-Gi-Oh! Specifically the ones in Master Duel, is that you have 8,000 life points, you draw 5 cards at the start of the game, and there's a specific turn order. Each turn goes as follows: draw phase, standby phase, main phase 1, battle phase, main phase 2, and end phase. Every turn will follow this structure. Now, there's an important difference between the player who goes first and the player who goes second. The player who goes first does not draw a card during their draw phase. They also cannot conduct their battle phase on their first turn, which means they cannot attack that turn. The player who goes second does draw a card at the start of their first turn, during their draw phase, and because it's their turn, they're allowed to conduct their battle phase and attack. After the first turn, both players draw a card at the start of each of their turns during the draw phase, unless the card effect says otherwise. In Master Duel's case, the game automatically guides you through the phases of your turn. The phases will always happen in order, and the game will prompt you when to move on from one phase to the next. During certain phases, like main phase 1, the battle phase, and main phase 2, you are able to perform actions such as summoning monsters, activating cards, or attacking. Your opponent can activate card effects during your turn, depending on the timing and the type of effect. Most of the time, this does not change the order of phases. However, some card effects can skip or end phases early, if the card specifically says so. Now, let's talk about something very important in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Special summoning. In my previous video, we talked about normal summoning, which you can only do once per turn. Special summoning is different. A special summon happens when a card effect allows you to summon a monster. Unlike a normal summon, special summons are not limited to once per turn. If you have multiple effects that allow you to special summon, you can do so multiple times in the same turn. However, you cannot just special summon whenever you want. A card must specifically say that allows you to special summon it. Special summons can happen from many different places, such as your hand, your graveyard, your deck, or even your extra deck, but only if a card effect allows it. It's also important to know some monsters cannot be normal summoned at all. If a monster says cannot be normal summoned / set, then it must be special summoned using the method written on the card. We'll go into more detail about different types of special summons in another video. For now, just remember this: normal summon is once per turn. Special summons happen through card effects, and they are not limited the same way. If that was a lot to take in, you are allowed to take a break and come back. This game can be very complicated at times, especially when you have to remember all of these rules. So, when you're ready, let's continue on with the guide. So, you now know what the turn order is and what special summoning is. What else do you need to know? Well, it's time to talk about what spells and traps are, another core part of Yu-Gi-Oh's identity. Spell cards are typically a green color, as I'm showing you on screen right now. There are several different types of spells. You have your field spells, quick spells, quick play spells, continuous spells, normal spells, and ritual spells. Each spell works differently from one another, so I will go through them one by one. What are field spells? It is a spell that goes onto the field zone on the Yu-Gi-Oh board. Each player can control one field spell at a time. What it does is dependent on what the text says. So, for example, it can make all of your light attribute monsters gain 200 attack points. What is an equip spell? This is a spell that you place in the spell and trap zone. You place it under the spot your monster is in to indicate that the spell is attached to it. If your monster leaves the field whilst the equip spell is attached, the spell is destroyed unless the effect says otherwise. What is a quick play spell? A quick play spell can be activated from your hand during your turn. It can also be activated on your opponent's turn. with some conditions. If you set it on the field, you cannot activate it that same turn. However, if it was set on a previous turn, it can be activated during your opponent's turn. What is a continuous spell? A continuous spell remains face up on the field after activation and provides an ongoing effect, rather than resolving once. Its effect continues for as long as the card stays face up on the field. What is a normal spell? It can be activated from your hand. You can also set them on the field, face down, to be activated later. It is a single time use, unless the effect states otherwise. What is a ritual spell? These spells are used to summon monsters known as ritual monsters. What ritual monsters are will be expanded in another video. If that was a lot, don't worry. Master Duel will help you with these activations, even prompting you if you want to use them. If you don't want to see those prompts, you can turn it off from the settings menu. Now then, let's cover traps. These aren't too different from spells. You place them in the same zone as spell cards. However, please note the following. Unlike most spell cards, trap cards must be set face down on the field before they can be activated. In most cases, you cannot activate a trap the same turn you set it. Now, how many different types of trap cards are there? You have your normal traps, continuous traps, counter traps, monster traps, and hand traps. An important note about hand traps. These aren't actually traps. These are just a fan term for effect monsters that are activated from the hand. We'll cover those in more detail in the next video. Another note to make here is that monster traps are continuous trap cards. They special summon themselves to the field. While treated as monsters, they are also still treated as trap cards, unless stated otherwise. What we'll focus on today is the three main traps: normal, continuous, and counter traps. So, what is a normal trap? A normal trap is a trap card that is activated once, resolves its effect, and is then sent to the graveyard. What is a continuous trap? A continuous trap is a trap card that stays on the field after it's activated. Instead of resolving once and going to the graveyard, it remains face up in the field and continues applying its effect for as long as it stays there. If the card is destroyed or removed from the field, its effect will stop applying. Just like other traps, it first must be set before it can be activated. What is a counter trap? A counter trap is a special type of trap card that is usually used to respond to another card or action. For example, a counter trap might negate the activation of a spell, trap, or monster effect. Counter traps are faster than other types of spells and traps, which means only another counter trap can respond directly to them. Like all trap cards, they must be set before being activated. Wow, that was a lot, which is why I must end the video here. In the next one, we will cover even more details about this game. What kinds of details? I will leave that as a nice little surprise for you. Until then, I'll see you guys next time.